The film was produced at London's Elstree Studios, where innovation in special effects has become a familiar trademark.
Practical effects can make or break a horror film, and Tobe Hooper's Lifeforce is a masterclass in atmospheric dread that famously drained its victims in the 1985 film. But behind every shocking scene was an army of artists, engineers, stunt performers, and special effects experts working tirelessly to bring this ambitious vision to life. So today, let's step behind the camera and explore how Lifeforce was really made. The climax of Lifeforce transforms London into a full-scale apocalyptic nightmare. Streets descend into chaos, terrified civilians run for their lives, and mysterious vampires drain human life energy from the sky in the form of blinding blue blasts. For audiences in 1985, this sequence was an absolutely mind-blowing visual spectacle that pushed practical effects technology to its limits. To bring this massive destruction to the screen, director Tobe Hooper teamed up with special effects legend John Dykstra, best known for his groundbreaking work on Star Wars. Instead of relying on computer graphics, which were still extremely limited in 1985, the effects team constructed highly detailed miniature versions of London buildings and landmarks. These miniature sets were carefully lit and filled with smoke to create realistic atmosphere effects and filmed using high-speed cameras. When projected at normal speed, the footage gave the illusion that viewers were witnessing destruction on a full city scale. But when the sequence took place on the streets, it required an equally ambitious approach. For this moment, makers hired hundreds of extras who were transformed using pale makeup, dark eye shading, fake wounds, and tattered costumes to portray terrified civilians, while military vehicles, practical fire effects, stunt performers, and controlled explosions helped create a realistic atmosphere of panic. Every frame was packed with movement and chaos, making London feel like a city on the verge of total collapse. However, one of the most difficult visual effects in the entire film was creating Lifeforce's iconic blue energy blasts. Today, filmmakers would simply create these effects using CGI, but in 1985, that technology wasn't available. Instead, the visual effects team relied on the painstaking process of optical compositing. The actors were first filmed separately during their performances. Meanwhile, glowing energy elements and light effects were created and filmed independently against black backgrounds. These separate pieces of film were then combined frame by frame using optical printers, a highly specialized process that required incredible precision and patience. Every glowing bolt of energy had to be carefully aligned by hand to ensure it interacted correctly with the live-action footage. Although the process was extremely time-consuming, the results were remarkable. The supernatural blue energy appears both beautiful and unsettling, giving the vampires a unique visual identity unlike anything audiences had seen. One of the most disturbing images in Lifeforce is the appearance of the dried skeletal corpses left behind after their life energy has been drained. Surprisingly, many of these terrifying bodies were not simply actors wearing makeup. For some of the film's most memorable corpse sequences, the effects team created life-size animatronic puppets. These incredibly detailed creations contained mechanical systems, hidden cables, and moving components that allowed their heads, arms, and bodies to move realistically. Multiple crew members worked together behind the scenes to operate the dead body, carefully controlling every motion. As a result, audiences were convinced they were watching actual dead bodies suddenly coming back to life. A drained corpse inside the laboratory absorbs a scientist's life force and suddenly reactivates. To achieve this sequence, the filmmakers combined animatronics, puppetry, prosthetic makeup, and practical effects. Because everything was physically present on set, every twitch and movement feels disturbingly real, creating a level of horror that remains effective even today. Another unforgettable practical effect appears during the laboratory sequence involving the female corpse lying on a stretcher. When the body suddenly explodes, audiences witness a shocking effect that was achieved entirely in camera. For this scene, the special effects team constructed a carefully prepared dunny filled with hidden explosive charges. Additional charges were positioned beneath the body to create a more dramatic blast. When triggered, the controlled explosions caused the corpse to burst apart, creating the illusion of an energy-filled body violently detonating. Because the effect was performed physically in front of the camera rather than added digitally later, the final scene still feels remarkably realistic and visceral compared to many modern CGI-heavy sequences. One of the most fascinating sequences in Lifeforce occurs near the beginning of the film, when the crew of the Churchill spacecraft discovers a mysterious alien vessel hidden within Halley's Comet. For audiences in 1985, this sequence was unlike anything they had ever seen before, presenting a strange and unsettling environment that felt both ancient and completely alien. So instead of looking like a futuristic machine, the vessel was designed to resemble an ancient alien tomb. To achieve this eerie atmosphere, the production team built massive sets featuring curved walls, organic structures, and bizarre biomechanical designs. The result was an environment that felt suspended somewhere between a dream and a nightmare. Perhaps the most impressive aspect of these scenes is the way the astronauts appear to move through the ship. This illusion was created using sophisticated wire harness systems and support rigs. The actors were suspended using nearly invisible cables and instructed to move slowly and carefully, mimicking the movements of real astronauts in space. The filmmakers also employed several clever camera tricks to enhance the effect. In certain shots, actors performed normally while the camera itself was rotated at unusual angles. This simple but effective technique created the illusion that characters were floating, drifting, or moving in impossible directions. Combined with slow camera movements and carefully choreographed performances, the scenes achieved a remarkably convincing sense of weightlessness. And that's how the filmmakers behind Lifeforce created one of the most ambitious sci-fi horror movies of the 1980s. If you enjoyed discovering these behind-the-scenes secrets, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which movie you'd like to see covered next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next behind-the-scenes adventure.